Today we're going to be talking about really growing a business from the inside and from the outside. My guest for this half of the show is Robin Hardy. She's an empowered coach, and she's here to really share with us how to move to that next level. You see, you can't just do it by yourself. Sometimes you need some assistance. So welcome to the show, Robin.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Pleasure to be here.
So tell us, what is an empowered coach? Empowered options coach?
Empowered options, yes. His options is there for choice. So an empowered options coach, my whole thing is engage your mind, stir up stuff that's already inside, you make a decision, and you move through it. Versus me sitting there saying, you need to go do A, B, C, D, because you're more likely to follow through something you think is your brainstorm versus just something somebody told you to do.
Okay, well, let's talk about the strategies of engaging your mind. What are you talking about when you say engage your mind?
Well, it's just, you know, all of us inside have already got what it takes to be great. It's already there. And a lot of times society, family, unfortunately, life happenings, things that just go on, have suppressed it so far down that we just ignore it. And we walk around like a zombie. We walk around thinking we're a failure, and we won't move to that next level. We're stuck. It's like quicksand. We feel like we're just going down further. So what happens is bringing on a coach, it's like a football team. How does a football team move forward? They have a coach that tells them how to do the plays. So the same thing with an empowered options coach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing all that fantastic stuff that's just down in your core, which is your gut, and we're going to bring it up to the surface.
Okay.
And just make it fantastic.
Now, is it a tough process? Tell us a little bit about the process, because some of the people watching are completely unfamiliar with coaching, and it could sound a little scary.
You know, it is. And coaching is fabulous if you're willing to open up. You know, because a coach, I'm not a psychic. I can't read your mind. I don't know, usually the clients, I don't know them, so I can't know what they've come through. And the key to a successful coaching session is being willing to open up and trust your coach. Because there's things that'll come out in a coaching session that that's personal, that's been holding you back, and we'll address those issues. Now, whether it's hard or easy, sometimes it's a challenge. Mm-hmm. Because people are afraid. Yeah, one of the biggest things, and this is hard because they're afraid of success. They're afraid if they're successful that things will go wrong and people won't like them, and the list goes on and on.
Well, things will go wrong and people won't like you, but that happens whether you're successful or not. So we might as well have a little cash in our pocket if we're going to have haters,
That's
right?
That's right. You know.
Well, tell us a little bit what that looks like if someone is really having the fear of success, because they don't go, you know, hi, Robin, I have fear of success. Yes. That's not what they say. What does that look like?
You know, it comes out in the conversation, you know, because what we'll do is we usually do, there's the initial session, we'll bring out where it's just chatting. Now, a good coach is going to listen to you. The other coaches are trying to put all this stuff into you. And what I'll typically do is sit there and just let you open up. Share your heart. And there's key things I'm listening for as you're talking, that it's like, okay, and then I ask a question. So how do you feel moving through that type of situation? And what's incredible is that people start realizing that, oh my gosh, I'm just afraid of success. But the whole thing is we move through fear, we move through change, and the only time fear becomes disabling is when we own it. Mm-hmm. Okay, you know, we make it real to ourselves.
We can be fearful, but if we keep moving and keep the action going, it doesn't really settle on us.
Correct.
Okay. Because some people think, I'm trying to eliminate all possibility of fear, and I try to explain to people that doesn't happen.
No, because fear can motivate you.
Yeah.
Fear can move you forward. I mean, there's the fear of loss. There's the fear of, you know, making people upset. I mean, there's a lot of fears. People have a fear of walking out their front door. But how do we conquer that? We walk through the front door and, oh, nothing happened. You know, hopefully nothing happened. You know, you never know.
You never know.
But, you know, the key is just moving through it.
Moving through it and really getting to the goal, getting to what it is you want to do. Now, when you work with people, do you just work on business goals? Do you work on personal goals? Because some coaches are more in the business part. Some coaches are more in the personal part. How do you see empowered coaching options fitting into those schemes?
Well, it's funny, and that's an incredible question, because when you look at business and personal, it's the same thing. They're knit together. A lot of people who are stuck in what we call stuck and where they're at in their business, there's personal things that are holding them back. So through the steps of doing some of the conversations, we draw those issues out and we can challenge them. We can set goals to move forward and say, okay, this week I'm going to do A, B, C, D, so that this is no longer an issue in my life. Now that issue may be there next week, and some issues take longer to get through. But empowered options can go both ways. But I find most of my business coaching that I do, there's always something personal in there that it just comes to the surface.
And so it's always a personal thing that's really keeping you moving forward no matter what area you're going to be in.
Right.
Okay. Tell me, how does a person get started? A lot of people are very unfamiliar with coaching. They have no idea. They see it as something really intimate and almost even intrusive. So, you know, how does it get started? Do I just call you up? I mean, what's the process?
Usually there's an initial, what we call an intake or a first call. Because if you're not clicking and personalities don't work and you're not comfortable with your coach, don't do it. Because it's about developing a relationship. You know, I'm there as the cheerleader. I'm on your side. I'm here to help you move forward. But if we're not clicking, you're not going to move. Mm-hmm. Or if the client's not willing to commit, we're not going to move either.
Okay. What if, I mean, is it your job to get a client willing to commit, or do you tell them to go home, do their homework so they can commit, or how do you get around that roadblock?
You know, most of the time what will happen is within about 2 to 3 sessions, I know if they're committing. Because they do walk away with goals each session. If an emergency happens on a goal, they know they can contact me and we'll work through it. But they have certain things that need to accomplish. I have a client recently that we kind of moved on because every time I talk to her, oh, it's not a priority in my life. Then why are you doing this? You're not ready. So typically, as a coach, we're not going to just take the money. We want to make sure we're moving you forward because there's so much out there for you.
Exactly. Now let's talk about goal setting. How do we set goals? Because a lot of people don't know that. They really don't. So I just want to, in case anybody's watching and they're thinking, no, I really don't set goals well. How do we set goals well and accomplish them?
Yeah, you know, that's one of the best questions out there. I don't want to set the fear of goal setting. That is the biggest thing. The way you set a goal is you have to write down the goal. Dream big. It doesn't matter. You know, your passion, your heart. Write it down. Then you have to set a timeline to it. When do you want to accomplish it by? You know, because if you don't, it's like the dog chasing the tail. We're just going to run in circles. And then the third step is an action plan. And I always tell my clients 3 to 5 steps to achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. And then the freak out begins to happen, right?
So each goal has 3 to 5 steps, not, okay. So goal A, and then 3 to 5 steps on how to get to goal A. Mm-hmm. Then goal B, which is different from A, not part of the steps, a different goal. And then the timeline goes on one of those steps. Like, it'll take me an hour to do this. It'll take me 3 days to do this. It'll take me 2 months to do this. It'll take me a week to do this.
Right.
Okay.
And the key to success on it is do them in pencil. Because that's your goal. The biggest thing is your goals are your roadmaps to get where you're going to go. But they're not in concrete. So if life happens, we can all say life happened. Mm-hmm. So maybe you need to move your goal out a week. Mm-hmm. Erase it. No, I do it in pen, but most people freak out about scratching out. Mm-hmm. Erase it in pencil. Write down a new date. But keep moving forward. That's the key.
Very good. Now, a lot of people are, they're going to do the goal setting. The biggest question I get asked is, when do you let go of a goal? When do we know that we're done? Even though we didn't accomplish the goal, but we know we're done.
Well, it's funny because I have a lot of people that keep working a goal and working it, and they're not seeing results. And what I really encourage somebody, if you find that if you're given 110% and really following through your actions and you're monitoring it and it's just not happening, just put it on the side, because I guarantee as soon as you set it aside and stop freaking out about it and worrying about it and stressing, you're going to get a phone call, an email, a letter, encounter somebody in networking that's going to be the answer to that goal moving forward. Or it could be that there's some personal issues, and once those personal issues are resolved, all of a sudden that goal just snaps into place and you're like, wow, stop stressing about it.
Very good. And how do we get in touch with you if we want you to be our empowered coach?
Best place is going through the website, which is robinhardy.net, and that's ROBINHARDY.net. And everything's on there, from the coaching to even a free download to do an exercise with us.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being on the show. It's good to have you.